Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, coming at you with my Samsung Galaxy S9 review. Now this is an updated review meant for people watching, of course, in 2020 because it is now 2020. This phone at this point is over 2 years old and it recently got the Android 10 update as well. So I have a lot of really exciting stuff to go over in this video, so I hope you're ready for it. So this is the Samsung Galaxy S9. I actually bought this phone on Amazon, and it is a renewed device. So essentially, it's previously been used, but it's in good enough condition to be resold. And the biggest benefit to buying a renewed phone is that you're gonna save a lot of money. In fact, right now you can get this phone at under $300. So take a look at the link in the video description to see the most up-to-date pricing for it. I'm sure as time goes on, especially throughout this year, the price of the phone will continue to go down, and that's even more savings for you. Now this device is GSM unlocked. This is the Snapdragon variant of the phone as well. I know there's also an Exynos variant of the phone out there too, but in general, it looks like the better choice is to go with the Snapdragon S9. Now, if you do end up buying this phone from Amazon Renewed, some of the benefits include a 90-day return policy. So if for any time throughout that 90 days you feel like returning the phone, especially if maybe it's not living up to how it's advertised, then you can easily return it. So there's really no risk there. But from my experience, I've bought at least 10 phones from the Amazon Renewed program, and every single one has been really good. They all have great displays with minimal to no scratches at all. And at least for this particular phone, you can see it is in excellent condition. Now, of course, it does have a lot of fingerprints on it because I've been using it, but otherwise, it is a very solid device. Now, one of the downsides, though, with going with a phone that's not brand new is that the battery will have some wear and tear. But from my experience, this device still gets very decent battery life. I have no problem using it for an entire day with no issues at all, so that's really fantastic. This device features a 5.8-inch display. It is Super AMOLED. It is 1440p. We're getting a PPI of 570 and an 18.5 by 9 aspect ratio. So we're getting really great colors here that really do pop. The display itself is super crisp and clear, which is fantastic. And then, of course, with that 8.5 by 9 aspect ratio, the phone is a little bit more narrow and taller compared to 16 by 9 devices. But on the other hand, some of the latest Samsung phones, like the Galaxy S20, for example, and this is actually the Ultra, this device features a 20 by 9 aspect ratio. So this phone technically is even more narrow and more tall. But even now in 2020, I feel like the S9 still has a very good form factor here. It still looks like a very nice device. And of course, the phone has a pretty thick bezel on the top and also on the bottom. But at least in return, you're not getting a notch or any sort of hole punch. So for the people out there that really do like to have an immersive video viewing experience especially, I think the S9 is still a very good choice for you. Another cool thing about this phone too is that even though it is an AMOLED display, I have not seen any evidence of screen burn-in, so everything still looks nice and fresh and new with this phone, despite it being decently old. Now up top here, we have an 8 megapixel front-facing camera, and later on in this video, I will show you some photo and video samples from that. The device features 64 gigabytes of internal storage with SD card expansion, so quite a bit of storage there. I know nowadays people prefer 128 gigs instead, but thankfully this phone does feature micro SD card expansion, so you do have the ability to put a micro SD card into the phone. We get wireless charging with the S9. We get DeX support, which is really awesome. We also get IP68 waterproofing, which is really cool too. And we also get NFC, and the phone is compatible with Samsung Pay. So definitely a lot of goodies here that you typically wouldn't find with more budget-oriented devices like the Galaxy A51. Now the device does feature Now the device does feature a fingerprint sensor on the back. It's a very fast and responsive fingerprint sensor. In addition to that, we're getting facial recognition here with the phone, and we're also getting an iris scanner. So you have multiple different options to unlock the device. Now I personally do prefer the fingerprint sensor because it is very fast and responsive. So I'm a big fan of using that. But the iris scanner is one of those features that you can't even find anymore with Galaxy S series phones. Now on the back of the device, we just have one camera, but it is a 12 megapixel camera and it does take really good looking photos and videos. Like I said, in a little bit, I'll show you some samples from that, so definitely keep watching. But it is of course a single camera, and the S9 Plus does have a dual camera setup. But despite this phone just having one camera on the back, you still do get portrait mode with both the rear and the front cameras. So I'm personally a big fan of portrait mode. That's a feature that I use all the time, especially surprisingly with the front-facing camera. So it's great to see that we are getting all of those really awesome features with the S9. Now internally with this phone, we're getting 4 gigabytes of RAM and the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845. Now the 800 series from Qualcomm is of course their flagship series of processors, and the 845 of course was their main processor in 2018 that they did include in a variety of different devices. And since then we've gotten the 855, 855 Plus, and the Galaxy S20 series has the 865. So the S20 Ultra, for example, has the 865. So we haven't really had that many new Qualcomm processors in the 800 series come out since the S9. I did run an Antutu benchmark test with the phone, and I am very pleased with the scores. So despite this phone being a little bit on the older side, I did get an overall score of 340,960. So certainly not bad there. That's a pretty solid score. And when put up against newer Samsung phones, like the S20 Ultra, you can see here I got an overall score of 555,004. So of course, the Ultra has a much better Antutu benchmark score, but at the same time, considering that you can buy the Galaxy S9 right now, renewed, for about $1,100 cheaper than the S20 Ultra, that says a lot considering that you still are getting very good performance here. So I would say that even now in 2020, for the majority of people out there, this phone will offer you with enough performance to keep you satisfied. Now video recording with the device maxes out at 4K at 60 FPS, so that's really cool. So it is still a beast of a phone if you want to take video that looks really good. We're getting a 3000 milliamp hour internal battery with the device, so not the beefiest battery ever, but thankfully the Snapdragon 845 is very power efficient, so you still are going to be getting very good battery life. Now the software on here is pretty exciting because the device has been recently updated to Android 10 with Samsung's One UI 2.0. So you can see there it is right there. And then scrolling down here, you can see that we do have the March 1st, 2020 security patch. Now I know that some devices are starting to see the April 1st, 2020 security patch. And at the time of me recording this video, we're about halfway through April. So I'm sure the April patch will be coming out pretty soon for the S9 as well. But Samsung has done a very decent job at giving this device long-term software support. And I think for most people out there, even if it was still stuck on Pi, it would still be a good software experience here, but it does make a great thing even better to get the latest and greatest version of Android. Now taking a closer look at the hardware on the phone, we do have kind of a curved display. That's not something that I'm really a big fan of personally, but I suppose for certain things like opening up the app edge, it actually does come in handy, but otherwise, I usually prefer to have a flat display. Taking a look at the left side of the phone, we have the volume button. We also have the Bixby button. So if you're into Bixby, there is a dedicated button there for you. The device features a metal band running around the sides of it. And then of course we have glass on the back and front. Taking a look at the right side of the phone, we have the power button. Then on the top of the phone, we have the noise canceling microphone and the slot for the micro SD card and SIM card. Then on the bottom of the device, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack. We have the USB-C port for charging and data transfer. This is also the port you're going to use to connect to various monitors to use DeX if you decide to use that feature. The device also has the microphone and then the speaker. Then taking a look at the back side of the device, we have the fingerprint sensor, camera module, heart rate sensor, and we have the flash. But beyond that, nothing else. Let me know what you think of this color of the device. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, take a look at the link in the video description to see the other colors available as well. Now, if you're into using Instagram, then you're definitely going to like the Galaxy S9 quite a bit. Performance is very smooth here. Zooming is very smooth as well. If you want to watch your stories, those are nice and smooth too. So the performance is really solid on this device, despite it not necessarily being brand new, of course. I'm going to record a story right now. So I'm recording this story with the Samsung Galaxy S9. I'm going to record a story right now. now, so I'm recording this story with the Samsung Galaxy S9. So that sounds really good. So this phone truly is a boss for social media. And since it is Super AMOLED, the viewing angles are really good too. So props to Samsung for putting a very nice... So this phone is awesome for watching video content. Everything is super clear and good looking on here. Of course, if you do decide to go for the S9 Plus instead, you at least do get a larger display, so I suppose that makes that phone even better for viewing content. But overall, I'm really satisfied with watching video content on the S9. This is still a really good phone for taking photos and videos, of course. Now, one of the downsides with it is that we don't get an ultra-wide-angle camera, obviously, but for everything else, photos look super crisp and clear. I'm a big fan of the colors that are created in these pictures. And video is super smooth as well. I'll show you some samples of that in a second. But certainly compared to other phones that you can buy right now, brand new, under $300, I would say that this one certainly is one of the best out there. So definitely let me know what you think of the photo and video quality from the Galaxy S9. But overall, I have nothing but good things to say. But let's now take a look at some video samples. What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with a 1440p front-facing video with the Samsung Galaxy S9. So let me know what you think of the quality. I am taking this video in 2020, by the way, so the phone has had quite a few updates since it was first launched. So maybe that has some sort of impact on the video quality or not, who knows? What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here with the Samsung Galaxy S9, taking a video at 4K at 60 frames per second. So let me know what you think of the quality from the device. Really quick autofocus in video mode. So that's really cool. But let me know what you think of the quality overall. So in conclusion, is the Samsung Galaxy S9 a good phone to buy in 2020? And what have I learned from creating this updated review? Well, I think that Samsung has done a pretty good job with software support. I hope that the Android 10 update isn't the last major software update that this phone does receive. I know that Samsung generally just updates their phones 2 times. So the phone originally came with Android 8 Oreo, then it got Android 9 Pie, and now it has Android 10. But I really hope we do get Android 11, and I have no idea when Samsung's One UI 3.0 is going to come out. I'm pretty sure that will be paired up with Android 11 as well. So hopefully this phone does see those updates. Of course, it has adequate hardware to run newer versions of Android. I'm very confident in that. So hopefully over the long term, we do continue to see even more software support for the phone. That certainly will make it more future-proof. And besides maybe the battery becoming less and less functional over time, everything else should hold up over the next year or two with no issues at all with the S9. So maybe you have an S7 right now, or even an S8, or something even older than that, but you don't quite want to spend the money to get an S20, then you certainly should consider going for a renewed Samsung Galaxy S9. Now, if you want to see the most up-to-date pricing, take a look at the links in the video description. I hope you enjoyed this video. Of course, leave any questions that you have in the comment section below. But this is Kevin here. This is the Samsung Galaxy S9 review, and I will see you in the next video.